We have a new sponsor and an old friend joining Envy Pillow here, Sierra Sil. With 2 rare patents and a money-back guarantee, Sierra Sil, available at Shoppers Drug Mart, London Drugs, and health food stores, is the natural mineral joint pain remedy you need. Go to sierrasil.com, SIERRASIL.com, and use the code GF for 10% off.
Buongiorno, Bella. It's episode 43 of Gracefully and Frankly. Hello there. I'm Lisa Brown.
Hello. Buongiorno and welcome. I'm Erin Davis, and you don't need a passport, but boy, do we have some great travel fun for you this episode.
You know, this trip started out being just a regular trip. It ended up being 22 days in Italy and the trip of a lifetime. I'm never going to do a trip like that again, I'm sure. Unless, of course, I win the lottery. But you have to buy tickets, right?
And, of course, she went into this with some trepidation, and we used it to talk about, how you should listen to your intuition. But we're going to listen to Lisa, her experiences with low high fashion, how to get a great picture with nobody in it short of calling in a fire drill, the most handsome person she ever met on the planet and how her husband went along with it, and it's not as steamy as that sounds, and chronicling the trip of a lifetime. So that is all ahead. And speaking of our heads,
yes, our envy pillows. And I don't know if you've known anybody who has been a tree planter, Erin. Trust me, this relates. I'll get there.
Uh-huh.
But my nephew, Brandon, plants trees in BC and Alberta every summer, and he does thousands and thousands of them. I don't know about you, but that's not something I'm interested in doing. However, we love the trees. And when you buy an item from Envy Pillow, whether it is their beautiful, sustainable, medical grade pillow or a sleep mask or whatever it is, they will plant 10 trees in an effort to regenerate ecosystems, to capture carbon, and also provide planting jobs in communities around the world. This is just one of the wonderful things that Envy Pillow does, because Kathy and Kim, who founded the company, are more than just entrepreneurs who are out to make a buck. They are out to truly help people and help the planet. Their mission is to plant 1 million trees by the year 2025. So that's just another little added bonus to when you buy your Envy Pillow, whether you need it for, like me, your neck, or whether you want to keep your face off your pillow and take the anti-aging angle of it. You get that if you buy it for your neck anyway. It's vegan, eco-friendly, it's supported and endorsed by the medical community, and check them out. Use the code GF and you'll get 10% off any of your purchases, no matter what you're buying, at envypillow.com.
Yeah. And of course, the holidays are approaching. And if you're looking for a gift or a gift idea or a gift certificate, whatever, they've got you covered. Before we get going, and we've got so much to talk about, I'm so excited to be talking with you, I must say.
It's been a while.
It has. We are going to be on Toronto radio this Saturday morning, you and I, and not together, surprisingly.
Right. It's Go To Grandma with Kathy Buckworth on Zoomer Radio, AM 740. And yeah, she spoke to us separately. She is a big supporter of Gracefully and Frankly. She listens. And I don't know what you talked to her about, but I talked to her about Trade Up, the book that I co-wrote, and about talking to our grandkids about getting into the trades.
I talked about how I can't stand you because I...
Oh, finally it comes out.
Well, that's what I thought she wanted. I thought she wanted to get both sides of our story. Oh, dear. Did I misread that email? Oh, no. I talked about a grandma getting a tattoo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Your tattoo. Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's going to be on the radio, AM 740, Toronto area, on Saturday, and then the podcast on Tuesday. And one of the things I've just got to say, in addition to Kathy Buckworth, Zoomer Radio has an all-female morning show, and Sam Houston and Jane Brown, and they're just wonderful. So this is really cool.
Go to Grandma this Saturday on the radio and probably online, like Zoomer Radio online. And then, as you say, the podcast drops Tuesday. But enough about everybody else. Let's talk about you. Oh, I'm so glad you're back, Lisa.
Oh, I am too. You know, when you go on a big trip, I mean, I've never gone for 22 days on a trip before, but you come back there's some brain fog from jet lag. And then there's that era of time where you think, did that really happen?
Mm.
Did I really go there? Was I like just eating spaghetti in Italy like a couple days ago?
What is spaghetti? And do we need to bleep that for the kids?
No. So I learned that in North America, they call it lobster tail. It's a pastry and it looks a little bit like leaves put together. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like an accordion.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about it just compelled me. I was drawn to it. And it's this light pastry that comes apart in these little leaves with some cheese and a little bit of orange zest inside, like ricotta cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. They originated in Naples. When we were in Salerno, which is not that far from Naples, they were brought in hot and fresh, just to die for. And I'm not a pastry person, but I had one little one. When I found out they made little ones, I was even happier. So I had one little one every morning we were there, and I'm drooling. They were so good. Yeah. They're called lobster tails. If you want to get one at a bakery here, just ask if they have one. I don't know how close they are, but they're supposed to be close.
One of the great joys of travel is experiencing the food in the locale. Like, we make a point of having French fries in France or Yorkshire puddings in Yorkshire, silly things like that. But for you to completely indulge and immerse. And I know you and I both have food issues and guilt and all of the baggage that's come with us for our low 6 decades. You were able to shake that off.
All I said I wanted was Italian pasta made by an Italian in Italy. I didn't care what it was or what city or where it was. And the first one I had was in Venice, and it was absolutely amazing. I don't even know how to describe it. It was probably all enhanced by the fact of what was happening. We were sitting by a canal and, all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just so good. And it was just one of the things I can't stand is when my plate gets watery.
Right.
Or the bowl or whatever, and there's like a little pool of water. This stuff was, I don't even know how to describe it. It tasted so fresh. Everything tasted so fresh there. And it's like they put their heart into it. You know what it's like there. There are maitre d's, and some of the servers are like career servers. It's not like some kid working a weekend who doesn't really want to be there. It's just a whole different atmosphere, and it was so good. And I don't usually eat real pasta or real bread or any of that stuff because gluten sensitivity, all this other crap. But I just went for it. I didn't even second guess it. I just did it.
Did your gluten sensitivity take a vacation while you were there eating the purest pasta you'd ever tasted? I'm curious about that.
I thought it was going to at first, but I ended up with some digestive issues. How can I put this? I get digestive issues when I travel anyway.
Oh.
Just from changing my diet completely. Yeah, I had a couple of crampy days, let's call them that. But I didn't feel bloated or sick like I usually do when I have wheat. I didn't feel like the Michelin Man or that I was, at risk of passing wind somewhere in public.
Right.
None of that happened. And people said it was because of the purity and the lack of preservatives and all this other refinement that happens to the stuff that we eat. It was just so fresh and so good.
The most touristy thing you did, first thing you did, was the gondola in Venice. I mean, how could you not?
Well, you kind of have to. And I mean, it's expensive and it's kooky and just so wonderful. And it's just one of those things that you've seen for so long that people do it, kind of have to do it. You know what really surprised me about Venice, though, was everything I've seen about it. It looked so small and all those little canals, and it's huge, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And did your gondolier sing to you?
No, he did not sing. He said he was not a singer, and that's quite all right. We got sung to here and there more than we planned anyway. No, that was quite all right. It was just a nice kind of quiet, just hearing the water and the occasional voice here and there. And people were taking pictures of us, as they do if they're not going to go in a gondola. They take photos of people in them. So we were laughing about how many people's photo dumps we were going to be in because we were in a gondola.
Damn paparazzi, leave them alone.
I know.
She's not Taylor Swift at a football game. Let her have fun. Oh.
It was a dream come true.
I'm so glad. But it was also one of the quieter touristy moments you had? Because honestly, what I got from you was that even though it's a shoulder season,
everybody said, oh, this is such a good time to go because there'll be fewer people. It'll be a little cooler. Turned out they had summer revisited. Some days it was mid-30s and humid, but the number of people, unbelievable, especially in Rome. Crowds and crowds everywhere you went. I actually Googled one day lesser known sites in Rome with fewer people and found some places we could go and see some really old architecture and different things that didn't have a lot of people there, because we went to the Colosseum, we went to the Pantheon, and we went to the Trevi Fountain, all those places that you go to. We had our own guide, and it was just packed. Absolutely packed, swarms of people. And I can't complain because I was one of them.
right?
But nobody expected it to be that busy.
When we come back, Lisa's trick to get a picture almost without people in it, which, as you can hear, really was a trick. One of my favorite pictures of all time is of Lauren and me. And we're looking at each other and we're sitting on the edge of the Trevi Fountain. But you got a picture just by people watching. And this is a great tip for anybody. Doesn't matter if you're at the Kensington Market or Lake Louise.
Well, it was so busy. Where we were staying was not far from the Trevi Fountain, so we had been there a couple times already. And we were looking for shorts for Derek because, as I say, it was a lot hotter than we thought it was going to be. We had brought pants, and we were in a store, and I was just sort of looking around. He was looking through the shorts rack, and I saw this white old woman come up and go right into the window and start taking pictures. And I sort of walked up beside her and thought, you are brilliant. She had a perfect overview of the Trevi Fountain with no people in front of it, because unless you were 9 feet tall, there was no way to get anywhere near it to get a picture without 100 heads of strangers in it.
Mhm.
And I said to her, I just said, you are brilliant. And she laughed and she said, I'll let you have the window when I'm done. And she took a bunch of photos. And that's what I did. I went into the window when she was finished, and she was from Montreal.
Ah,
And I got a bunch of really good photos of the fountain, which, like I say, I never would have gotten before if I hadn't noticed what she was doing. And I don't know why people don't do it all the time, but it was just one of those things. It was so cool. I have a little enhancer on my Pixel phone on the photo app that will say, do you want us to get rid of these people? So I was joking to Derek that as we were on train rides, I was killing people left and right because it will outline the person and go, should we get rid of this person? I'll go click, hell yeah, get rid of them. And so I could get rid of some of the people. Sometimes you want a person for perspective, like the doors to the Pantheon, which are like 30 feet high or something. You want to be able to show that. But yeah, I was eliminating people left, right, and center.
Oh, I wish that existed in real life. But anyway, so this woman was on a second story or something. She went up some stairs to get the better view?
Yeah, it was the second floor. Yep. And which is where we happened to be. So I noticed she wasn't shopping. That's why she caught my eye.
Aha.
Kind of keep your eye out for people who are doing something unusual, right? It's just the way we're wired.
Yes. Did you visit any religious spots? I mean, it's hard not to in Italy, but did you go into the Vatican or say hi to the Pope for me or anything like that?
We didn't. We went around some of the basilicas and saw some things. You know, it's just not my thing. We went on the hop on, hop off tour and drove by the Vatican twice because we did not hop off. We were so exhausted. This was our last day in Rome. But the crowds, Erin, I mean, it was kind of off-putting after so many days of seeing the things we really, really wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really feel like wading back into that. And it was the same with going to the Amalfi Coast. Even when you book a small group tour, they end up putting you with 50 other small groups. So you're still in a bigger group tour, right? And there's only so much of that you can take. Derek is really, he has a low tolerance for lots of people. And I thought he did really great to do all the stuff that was high on the list. So we knocked some of the medium and lower things off it to give him a break.
With your hearing impairment, how did the tours work for you? Were you happy with the apparatus they gave you to hear your guide?
Yeah, when we were in Rome, we had, of course, this woman to ourselves. So it was just the three of us. I didn't have any trouble hearing or understanding her at all. And then when we went to Pompeii, it was a little earpiece, and I had to hold it up because I can't put an earpiece over my ear because I already have a hearing aid there.
Right.
But it was no big deal. Sometimes I was close enough I could hear her without it. And yeah, I didn't have any problems with any of that at all. And there's just so much to learn, and it's just so fascinating. I'm just so full of gratitude.
So you met some extraordinary people, and not just your cousin Vicky who came over from England.
Right.
One of the moments that made me laugh out loud was Lisa met the most handsome man she has ever laid eyes on. You didn't think you were going to get away without talking about this, were you?
Oh, and I don't know his name, but we were in Naples and we'd gotten off the ferry. We were coming back up into the city, Vicky and Derek and I, and we were looking at some place to get something to eat. We knew if we went to our room, we were done. And we just said, let's go over there. It's a pizzeria. And the guy turned around, the maitre d', and my throat closed up. He was so beautiful. And I mean that like a guy looking at a Ferrari or something. He was just so incredibly beautiful that I was speechless. Not in a kind of way, just like, wow, like I've never seen a human being that looks like this before. And I think I said something like, that's the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And Derek laughed and Vicky laughed. We went and sat down. So later on, Derek said, I've got something on my phone for you. And I went, okay. And he played a video of this guy. Derek went in to use the washroom and he said to the guy, would you just say hello to my wife for me? So I've got this beautiful young guy going something like, Bella Lisa, whatever, and then blowing me a kiss. It's like unbelievable. Now, I want to make it perfectly clear. I don't have any sexual feelings for this young man or anything like that. And it's kind of weird that my husband did this because it would never happen the other way around. We'd go in the other direction. Anyway, it was just a big surprise. It made me laugh. I haven't watched the thing again. It embarrasses me, but Derek shows it to everybody.
No, now it's foreplay. You hold on to that on your phone. Don't you worry about that. Get your engine running. Well, perhaps it was the fact that you so leaned into the Italian fashion and found yourself drawn to this dress.
You know what happened? I didn't expect it to be so hot. Even when I checked the forecast before we left, it said 23, 24 degrees. Well, it was more like 33, 34. And you know me, I run hot. I was roasting anyway. So I realized that the one skirt I'd brought with me was the coolest thing I had. So we went looking for skirts or dresses, and the only one I saw that I knew would fit me without having to go try it on was this one size fits all sack. It was at like a souvenir stand. And so I bought it and wore it a couple of times, and I strategically posed with it on so you couldn't tell how it was like wearing a sack. But it was so cool. It was just fantastic. Made of cotton. And then I went to a vintage store in Florence and found the ugliest 1980s skirt you have ever seen. And bought that and wore it a couple of days as well. Skirts were the way to go. Kept me a lot cooler.
I'm a little bit surprised at your sartorial choices because, before you guys even got off the plane, Derek was making fun of your fashion choices for comfort. That would be a fork in the arm on the plane if it was my husband.
Well, one of the reasons was I asked him, though. See, I prompted him.
Oh,
It wasn't unprompted. So I had these. Erin, I think I'm taller than I am. Okay. In my mind, I see myself as having a waist and being taller. Neither of those things is true. So I was wearing these linen joggers that I got from Mark's, and I thought were going to be perfect. As it turns out, they're way too long for me.
Oh,
which I also never realized. And so I was wearing them, my walking shoes, and a sort of oversized tank top and a jacket, like a big flowy light jacket. So I checked myself in the mirror and I look like a kid trying on her mother's clothes. Everything looked too big. It all hung loose. Like I looked like I didn't care what I was wearing. And Derek said I look like, well, the same way.
yeah.
It's kind of funny in Italy, and I don't compare myself to other people or whatever. I do my own thing. I'm comfortable. I'm fine. But you see people on the plane in their high heels and tight pants and sequin tops and everything. And I don't know where the heck they're going. But if I'm going to have a 24-hour travel day, I want to be comfortable.
They're going to that restaurant to meet up for a hot date with that maitre d'. That's where
Lucky
they're
them
going.
if they're young enough.
Someone else that you met on your trip. And trust us, we didn't expect this entire episode 43 of Gracefully and Frankly to be about Lisa's travels. But when you do something that is so extraordinary and has so many facets of life that we don't get to experience, then why not? Why not talk about it? Didn't you have a meetup with a Gracefully and Frankly listener?
Yes, I did. Julianne and her husband, Rob, were traveling with their friends, Joanne and Marcel, and we met up in Salerno. They were staying in Salerno. They had done some other traveling as well, gone to Positano and a few other places, and we met up for coffee. And I just love them, all of them. So did Derek, and we got along great. And we ended up walking them back to their Airbnb. We talked about a little bit about Gracefully and Frankly, but we talked a lot about travel. They live in Kitchener. It was just really wonderful to meet up with them and find out we had so much in common. And we walked them back to their Airbnb. And as we were walking, I kind of said, I got to go buy a bathing suit because we're going to hit the beach. And I forgot to bring one. And Joanne said, well, we're heading home tomorrow and I've only worn this one a couple times. I wouldn't mind parting with it if you want it. And I thought that was the nicest thing. It's not even so much that it's the expense. It's the experience of going in and having to buy a bathing suit that I was dreading.
Mm-hmm.
And she saved me from that, which was the sweetest thing. They're just great people. And I've been in touch with Julianne here and there a little bit since the end of her trip and the end of mine. So thank you for listening. And it was just really great to meet up with them.
Was there anything constructive about Gracefully and Frankly that we can start putting into effect? I'm not looking for praise here.
Well, they suggested it might be better as a one-woman show, but I said, look, Erin's a big part of this. And I just can't carry on without her.
I had that coming after the Go to Grandma shot. I totally had that coming.
No, they did not. No, it was great. And I mean, we're always happy to take
suggestions,
constructive criticism, kudos, whatever, money, recipes, anything.
Aww.
But no, it was just a lovely discussion and really enjoyed it. And it's just so neat to see somebody so out of context like that. Like when we were in Hawaii and my friends Lori and Jeff were there and we met up with them. And it's a bizarre but wonderful thing.
Now, you did also meet up with a young couple who had some Airbnb horror stories, and I don't want to scare anybody, but I want to hear it all.
When I book, luckily at our age, I mean, maybe in our younger years, we had to do a hostel or something like that, although I never did because I won't share a bathroom. But this couple is traveling on a strict budget, and they are trying to save money everywhere they can. So they stayed in one place, and turned out it was the guy's primary residence, and he was cleaning as they arrived. So they had to wait for him to finish cleaning, and it was just this little room. And anyway, they finally got in. The bedding was all threadbare. It looked nothing like the picture. And when Selena wanted to see what the bed looked like, she pulled the cover back, and there was a little pile of freshly clipped toenails. So that place they vacuumed that place, and they did stay because it was so late. But another place they went to, the door didn't go up to the ceiling. And so the whole, instead of having a transom or something, that whole area between the door and the ceiling was open, wide open. Just open air. There were other rooms with other people in them, and just some really odd, uncomfortable things, dirty and that kind of stuff. We had one. I like to stay at different types of places, and I try and get a bargain, but within reason. And so we ended up staying at some really nice places that I got on great deals and stuff. And one of ours was not great, and that can happen, but there certainly weren't any toenails in it.
Oh, no, except for yours. Wow. Wow.
I can recognize them by the nail polish, so.
Exactly. Well, you may have heard that here in BC, there is a law that is going to be passed, and I really don't know how far along they are in this or if any thought went into this, but bear with me. The government here has decided that you can no longer own an Airbnb strictly for rental purposes. You can have an apartment in your home, that can be an Airbnb. You can rent that out. You can have Airbnbs that you rent out on the Gulf Islands, but not on the mainland and not here on Vancouver Island. And what this is doing is it's cutting down the availability for people who have extra properties to allow tourists to come and stay, which is a big part of the economy.
Right.
But the reason behind it, of course, is if you've got 3 apartments and they could be rented or owned by people who need an apartment and can't afford a house, they're not on the market, right? So this would theoretically put them on the market. But we were talking to a money guy last week, and he said he has a nurse who's just retired, and her whole retirement plan was buying these 3 small properties that were perfect for Airbnb, and they were going to be her retirement income. And so she's like, what do I do now?
Right. They're doing this in Florence, but they're doing it to open up the rentals for locals and to try and cut down on tourism. But you're not talking about an over-touristed place where everything's being depleted and people are fleeing. This is pretty heavy-handed in BC.
I don't know, as I say, whether it's going to go through. I get the sentiment behind it, but is it even practical? And, you know, the hotel owners have got to be just doing a happy dance, because this means that you're going to be in a $400 or $300 a night room. You don't have a place you can cook. You don't have that extra bathroom where Lisa can go when she's traveling. Yeah, it opens a whole can of worms. And I don't know if it's even possible, but the best intentions, right? Well, I think one of the best things about your trip, besides the point that you've shared so many highs and a few lows, there was that one place with the air conditioner that sounded like this. Boy, that's when hearing impairment comes in handy, eh? Jeez.
Oh, yeah. I took my hearing aids out, and it wasn't a problem for me. Poor Derek could hardly sleep because of it.
Rattle and Hum, I think, was the U2 album, and also the name of the place you were staying. Holy jeepers. But the best part of it is that you are making an actual book, not one that you're going to sell like Trade Up, but a Shutterfly book. And this isn't an endorsement for Shutterfly. It's so great.
It is. I've got them for motorcycle trips we've taken, made sure everybody on the trip got one. It's just such a great way to make sure you remember everything and to have sort of a hard copy without having to just flip through a bunch of pictures. I just love that. It also makes you feel like a designer.
Mm-hmm. It is. You're a graphic artist.
And when I go in, I try and make it easy on myself, and I let the app load all the photos, and then I just rearrange them instead of starting from zero. I think I did it in about 4 hours this time.
But the part of it I loved was that you were able to write your little narration of what the day was and how you felt and stuff. And pictures can capture that. They rarely do, and we forget. So that's why a book is just such a great idea. And we'll say it again. This one is Shutterfly. There are others that are out there. It's kind of a variation on scrapbooking. Mm-hmm. Kudos to you for doing it as soon as you get back when your memory is fresh.
And the other thing that's great about it compared to scrapbooking is no glitter. So there you go.
There you go. Well, like I said, we did not expect episode 43 to be a travelogue, but gosh, I hope that a lot of your questions were answered just as mine were. And Lisa, we're just so glad to have you back. And can I say, too, that there are a lot of people who are hearing Gracefully and Frankly for the first time, thanks to an interview I did with Jan Arden. And you can still hear it on iHeartRadio, or you can find it through my social media. She was so generous in talking about our project and our podcast and Gracefully and Frankly. And we saw the Jan bump right after she did the podcast. So if you're new here, we are so happy that you're here. What are you doing for Halloween next week?
Nothing. Actually, I'm loading in for a trade show that I'm going to be at the next couple of days for the Trade Up book. It's a trade show about getting into the trades here in Ontario, and I'm representing the book. So, yeah, I'll be one of those people at the booth going, hey, have you got a couple of minutes to talk to me about the trades? What are you doing for Halloween?
Oh, we're going to go out with Colin and Jane. Rob and I will
Yay.
be in our banana costumes as usual.
Yeah.
And this year, because we have 2 little dogs, Dottie and Sammy will be in our bike trailer, all covered up and warm. And because Sammy likes to bark at everybody and everything. So we'll push them instead of a stroller this year because Jane, of course, is 4. And we'll be keeping up with her and Colin, just having a good time, making memories as always.
Do you think Dottie is going to tell Sammy about her dirty weekend?
Well, I don't know if she is, but next episode we will. Oh, my goodness. And if you haven't yet, please go to erindavis.com. We've got pictures, video, nothing X-rated, we promise you. But we've got our fingers crossed, Lisa, that there will be puppies for Christmas. Oh, we didn't ask how your cat reacted when you got home. Let's end it on a catty note, shall we?
Cuddles has not left my side. Since we got home, we crawled into bed at about 1 o'clock in the morning. He crawled on my body, on my face. He bumped my head and kissed me, and he hasn't left my side. So I think he really thought we were gone for good. I promised him no more trips that long again. So,
Aw, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, promise me too, because it's great to have you back.
Thank you. It is really great to be back. I really have missed this, and it's just so much fun. It's so great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, my friend. All right. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to NB Pillow for always being here with us, no matter where we are, home or abroad. We're both broads all the time, but we are very glad to have them in bed with us, quite literally. And you have a great week. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
You too.